us know that we are meeting in very troubled times. Our construction industry has always been a barometer of the health of our nation's economy, and when the bottom dropped out last fall, our members were among the first to feel the pain, and among those occupations that have felt it the deepest. Unemployment in the construction trades now averages between 20 and 30%, even higher in some areas and among some trades, but rarely lower. Architectural billings have plummeted in 2009, meaning that the prospects for the future are not that hopeful. If the architects don't draw, we don't build. Certainly the stimulus money will have some impact, but I think less than some of us would have hoped. But if, as they say, crisis offers opportunities, then perhaps this period is an opportunity to understand how we got to this point, to rethink some of our nation's underlying values, and to look at the work we do in new and better ways. From 1973 to 1985, the financial sector had never earned more than 16% of domestic corporate profits. But in this decade alone, it reached 41% of all corporate profits. The American financial industry gained political power by promoting the belief system that what was good for Wall Street was good for the country. In a world that celebrates the idea of making money, it was easy to believe that the interests of the financial sector were the same as the interests of the country, and that the winners in that world knew better what was good for America than everyone else did. But this belief system has proved empty and destructive. This is a time for all of us to ask, what is really important in our society? The glamour of money and celebrity, or the value of hard work that is the bedrock of the nation's strength and the work that we do every day? In the aftermath of 9/11, who in Lower Manhattan led the efforts of rescue and recovery? Was it the celebrated investment bankers and fund managers who worked on Wall Street? No. It was the construction workers, the cops, the firefighters, the EMTs, all union members, by the way, who did the dirty work and possessed the skills to help New York and our country return to normalcy. Unfortunately, a return to normalcy on Wall Street meant using workers' pension funds and 401ks to bet the house on increasingly leveraged financial instruments. In the end, the house of cards came tumbling down, and the ones who were paying the ultimate cost are America's working families, the kinds of people who rescued those on Wall Street from the consequences of a terrorist attack. So what does all this have to do with our training mission? As members of the training community, it is our obligation to train our members to become the most productive journeymen and women in the industry. In a highly competitive world, they need to be the best they can be, with a full array of skills, but they also need to become union citizens. And our training programs need to include curricula on labor history, labor economics, and the rights and responsibilities of union members. They need to understand that it's not just enough to show up and put in an honest day's work. They need to know that their futures and their family security depends on the strength of their union, and their union strength depends on their participation, support, and understanding of the issues. They need to know that our society has seen an enormous growth in economic inequality since the 1970s, and that trend coincides with a decline in union density and union strength. They need to know that whereas 30 years ago, the average American CEO earned about 30 or 40 times what the average worker earned, last year that CEO took home 344 times the typical worker's pay. They need to know that in 2007, the top 50 hedge and private equity managers, the people who helped bring us our current situation, earned an average of $588 million a year, more than 19,000 times what an average worker earned. They need to know that contrary to popular mythology, our problems today were not caused by America's workers or their unions. In fact, productivity is up 70% since 1980, while real wages have risen only 5% after inflation. They need to know that it wasn't always like this, and it doesn't always have to be like this. So when we think about training, we have to think about all aspects of a union industry. First, we have to teach the skills. We also have to prepare our members for change, a constant in our modern lives. We have to view our crafts as occupations that will have to incorporate continuing lifelong education, that is, journeyman upgrades as well as apprentice training. like schools, roads, and bridges, offices, and hospitals. And that should be a source of pride to them. And we need to ask them to be union citizens, to take on the great challenge of our time, to restore the role of unions as a counterweight to corporate greed and financial irresponsibility, and as a central voice for economic justice in the United States. Enjoy your conference.